Welcome to the American West, a land of wide open spaces and rugged beauty. It's here, among the silvery green sagebrush, that we find one of nature's most incredible performers. I'm talking about the Greater Sage-Grouse. This isn't just any bird, it's a true symbol of this wild landscape. Imagine seeing a chicken-sized bird with spiky tail feathers, fanned out like a crown. But the real showstopper is something you have to see to believe. In the spring, the males do something truly spectacular. They puff out their chests, revealing two big, yellowish-green air sacs that look like wobbly balloons. It's an amazing sight, and it's all for one reason: to impress the ladies. This is nature's version of a grand theatrical flirtation, a dance that has been performed for thousands of years. Let's get a closer look at these amazing birds. The Greater Sage-Grouse is North America's largest grouse. The males are quite a bit bigger than the females, weighing up to 7 pounds. They are covered in a beautiful pattern of mottled brown, gray, and white feathers, which is perfect camouflage in their sagebrush home. The females are a bit more understated, with simpler patterns that help them blend in while nesting. But during the breeding season, the males pull out all the stops. They have a striking black throat and belly, a white ruff around their neck, and those incredible eye-catching yellow air sacs that inflate and deflate as part of their famous display. They look like they are wearing a very fancy, very wild costume for the biggest party of the year. So why go through all this trouble? Why the flashy feathers and the big bouncy chest sacs? It's all about finding a mate. The males are putting on a show to prove they are the strongest, healthiest, and most impressive grouse around. The females watch these performances very carefully from the sidelines. They are looking for the best of the best. A male that can put on a powerful, energetic display is showing that he has good genes, which means he'll likely produce strong and healthy chicks. This elaborate ritual ensures that only the fittest males get to pass on their traits to the next generation. It's a brilliant strategy, a high-stakes competition where the prize is the future of the species. This flamboyant chest puffing isn't just a visual spectacle, it's a full-body performance that takes incredible energy. To inflate those air sacs, the male grouse gulps in air, forcing it down into his esophagus, which has these special pouches. He then contracts powerful muscles to push the air into the sacs, making them swell up. As he does this, he makes a series of unique, low-frequency sounds, popping, cooing, and swishing noises that can travel a long way across the open plains. It's a sound unlike anything else in the wild. Think of it as the bird's own unique love song, a rhythmic beat that echoes across the sagebrush sea at dawn, announcing to every female grouse that the show is about to begin. You can't talk about the sage-grouse without talking about its home, the vast sagebrush ecosystem. This isn't just a backdrop, it's the bird's entire world. These birds live in what biologists call the sagebrush sea, a massive landscape that stretches across 11 states in the American West. This habitat is dominated by different species of sagebrush, which these grouse depend on for everything. Sagebrush isn't just a plant to them, it's their grocery store, their shelter, and their nursery all rolled into one. The health of the sage-grouse population is directly tied to the health of this unique and fragile environment. Where you find healthy sagebrush, you will find these incredible birds thriving. The diet of the sage-grouse is very specialized. For most of the year, their main food source is sagebrush leaves. That's right, they eat the tough, aromatic leaves that many other animals won't touch. They have a special digestive system that allows them to break down the plant's compounds. In the winter, sagebrush is pretty much the only thing on the menu, as it's the only food that stays above the snow. In the spring and summer, they add more variety to their diet. They eat flowers, buds, and insects, especially when they are young. The chicks need the extra protein from insects like beetles and grasshoppers to grow big and strong. But sagebrush always remains the cornerstone of their survival, providing essential nutrients all year round. Sagebrush provides more than just food, it offers critical protection from predators and the harsh elements. The plant's dense branching structure creates the perfect cover. When a hawk flies overhead or a coyote is on the prowl, a sage-grouse can quickly duck under a big sagebrush plant and seemingly vanish. The mottled feather pattern of the grouse blends in perfectly with the dappled light and shadows under the brush. This camouflage is their best defense. In the winter, the sagebrush canopy provides shelter from biting winds and heavy snow. For the females, it's the ideal place to build a nest, hidden away from prying eyes, where she can safely incubate her precious eggs. The connection between the grouse and the sagebrush is a perfect example of coevolution, where two species have become completely dependent on each other. The sage-grouse is considered an indicator species. This means that the health of the grouse population tells us a lot about the health of the entire sagebrush ecosystem. If the grouse are disappearing, it's a red flag that the whole system is in trouble. This habitat supports over 350 other species, including pronghorn, mule deer, and pygmy rabbits. So protecting the sage-grouse isn't just about saving one bird. It's about protecting an entire community of wildlife that calls the Great Sagebrush Sea home. Every spring, as the snow begins to melt, something truly magical happens in the sagebrush country. The male sage-grouse gather at special traditional sites called leks. A lek is basically a strutting ground, an open area where the males come together at dawn to perform their amazing mating displays. These are nature's dance floors, and they have been used by generations of grouse for centuries. Dozens, sometimes even hundreds of males will stake out a small territory on the lek. Then as the sun rises, the show begins. Each male puffs up his chest, fans his tail, and starts his elaborate dance, all while competing for the attention of the females who are watching from the edges. The sounds on a lek are just as incredible as the sights. It's a symphony of strange and wonderful noises. As the males inflate and deflate their chest sacs, they create a series of low bubbling and popping sounds. It's often described as a swish-swish coo-pop-pop sound. This sound is surprisingly loud and can travel for more than a mile across the open landscape, calling in females from all around. The competition on the lek is fierce. The dominant males usually claim the best spots in the center of the lek, where they perform almost constantly. Younger, less experienced males are often pushed to the outer edges, hoping to get noticed. It's a high-energy, high-stakes battle of stamina and style. The female sage-grouse are the ultimate judges in this competition. They are very picky, and for good reason. A female will stroll through the lek, carefully observing the males. She watches their dances, listens to their calls, and assesses their overall health and energy. She is looking for the most dominant and impressive performer. In most leks, only one or two of the top males will be chosen by the majority of the females. It's a winner-take-all system. After she has made her choice, she will mate with the winning male, and then leave the lek to start the next phase of her life cycle all on her own. The male's job is done, and he stays on the lek to display for other females. After mating, the female sage-grouse sets off to find a suitable nesting spot. She looks for a location with plenty of cover, usually under a large, dense sagebrush plant. There, she scrapes a shallow bowl in the ground and lines it with soft grasses and feathers. She will lay a clutch of about 6 to 9 eggs. For the next 25 to 27 days, she incubates them, rarely leaving the nest. This is a very dangerous time for her as she is vulnerable to predators like coyotes, badgers, and eagles. Once the chicks hatch, they are able to walk and feed themselves almost immediately. The mother hen leads them to areas rich in insects and flowers, teaching them how to survive and always watching for danger. Despite their amazing adaptations, sage-grouse face some serious challenges today. Their biggest threat is habitat loss. The vast sagebrush sea they depend on is shrinking. Much of this land has been converted for agriculture, developed for housing, or altered by energy projects. When their habitat is broken up into smaller, disconnected pieces, it becomes much harder for the grouse to find food, shelter, and suitable lek sites. It's like trying to live in a house where the rooms keep disappearing one by one. This fragmentation makes them more vulnerable to predators and isolates populations, which is bad for their long-term genetic health. The world of the sage-grouse is changing fast and they are struggling to keep up. Wildfires are another major threat to the sagebrush ecosystem. In recent years, fires have become larger and more frequent, partly due to climate change and the spread of invasive grasses like cheatgrass. Cheatgrass dries out early in the season, creating a perfect fuel for wildfires. After a fire burns through, cheatgrass often grows back faster than the native sagebrush, preventing the sagebrush from recovering. It can take decades or even a century for a sagebrush habitat to return to its former state. For the sage-grouse, a massive fire can wipe out their home in an instant, leaving them with nowhere to go. This loss of sagebrush is a critical blow to their survival. The good news is that many people are working hard to protect the sage-grouse and its home. Conservation efforts are underway across the West, bringing together ranchers, scientists, government agencies, and conservation groups. One major strategy is to protect the best remaining sagebrush habitat and restore areas that have been damaged. This involves removing invasive cheatgrass and planting new sagebrush seedlings. Ranchers are also playing a huge role by using sustainable grazing practices that keep the sagebrush landscape healthy. They are true stewards of the land, and their partnership is essential for the future of the grouse. Protecting these birds is a team effort. Why does saving one bird matter so much? Because the sage-grouse is more than just a bird. It's the heart and soul of the sagebrush ecosystem. By protecting the grouse, we are also protecting the entire web of life that depends on this unique landscape. Saving the sagebrush sea means ensuring a healthy environment for hundreds of other species, preserving the natural heritage of the American West, and supporting the rural communities that depend on this land. The flamboyant dance of the sage-grouse is a powerful reminder of the wild beauty that still exists in our world. It's a symbol of resilience, a wild spirit that deserves to dance on for generations to come, and that's something worth fighting for. Wow,